Hi guys! Today's an exciting day. We get to start a brand new chapter in our math book, and since it is a brand new chapter, I wanted to try to introduce some things live for you so that you could get some explanation on it, okay? So our first slide here is talking about our very first word. In this chapter, we're going to be talking about shapes and things that you can do with shapes and different measurements you can take with shapes, okay? So one of the different things that we can try to decide with shapes is doing something with the outside or the boundary of the shape. For example, you're going to see a Brain Pop video tomorrow. If you are looking outside of your building or your house and looking at maybe the area where a garden is planted, especially in the spring, and you're wondering about that garden, if you need a little fence around the border so no dogs go in your garden and ruin your plants. Okay, so if we are trying to measure something like how much fencing I would need on the border of my garden, then that is called the perimeter. Okay, so practice saying perimeter because you're going to need that word a lot in this chapter. Half of the chapter is all about perimeter. Okay, and again, perimeter is going on the outside of a shape. So you can see the definition here. The perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. Okay, and so I have an example here. If you see my little garden, and then I have perimeter, 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 perimeter. Okay, and we could take a look at this rectangle too, thinking on the outside, perimeter, 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 perimeter. We're going to go all the way around the shape, and that's the perimeter. So what are some ways that you can mathematically find the number that is the perimeter? Okay, and that's what we're going to practice today. So for example, if I'm trying to find this garden's perimeter, one thing I could do is think of the units that each side is taking up, or thinking of arrays, how a rectangle has perfect like little squares inside of it that are making the rows the same length, and there's little squares hidden inside, okay? And these squares are all 1 unit at a time. So the first one is 1 unit, from this line to this line is 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. So what you could do is you could just count and make sure you write it down so that you can keep track of your numbers. But you could just think of the units inside and maybe draw these squares, or use the squares if they're already drawn, and you would just count from here to here is 1. From here to here is 2. From here to here is 3. From here to here is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And so our perimeter would be 12. And then we say a measurement. So this one, we don't know if they're inches or centimeters. They didn't tell us. So we would just say units is fine. So that's one way you can find the perimeter of any shape. Count each unit one at a time around the shapes. Now I'm going to take us to, let's see if this will work. Okay, now I'm going to take us to the first page, and we're going to practice some of those examples of going ahead and counting each unit one at a time around the edge. Okay, so I'm going to do one more, and you're going to try it with me this time. So here we go. We're going to try it on this one. So what's really important is, as you're counting, make sure you draw that line first before you count, okay? Now, on the rectangles like this and this, you're gonna go, why do I need to do that? This is easy. And it is easy on rectangles, but once you get to these ones that are not perfect rectangles, it's gonna be trickier, okay? 4. Now you keep going and see what you get down the side. Did you get to 8? Okay, now try across the bottom. Did you get to 12? And then back up Did you get to 16? Okay, so this one's perimeter is 16 units. Okay, now I'm going to model for you one of the tricky ones. Okay, this one. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3, but look, there's one that turns here. This is where third graders always get mixed up. Here's why. Because they're like, I already put a number here and it's basically touching this one too. So they don't realize that this is actually 2 sides. So whenever you have a turn like that, a corner, you're gonna have to write small because you have to actually fit 2 numbers in that little space that's squished together. So this is actually 3 and 4. Then I can keep going. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, here we go. We got a corner again. So this one's 14. I'm going to write small. I'm going to write it over here so I have a little bit of space left for this inside. 15 and 16. So a lot of people, if they didn't do these little lines, might have gotten 14, and that's because they skipped this corner and skipped a side. But really, it's 16 units. Okay, so now what I want you to do is I want you to stop the video, go ahead and try these other 2 problems by yourself, see what you get, and then come back to the video and see if you have the same as me. Okay, so this rectangle is not very tricky. This one you all probably got. Okay, so for this one, I went ahead and filled it in all the way around. Did you get 10 units? If you did, very good job. All right, the next one. Let's find the outside, the perimeter of this one. This one is tricky, so do these lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, down the side, 5. Okay, here's a corner, be careful. Write small, 6. This side is 7, 8, and so this one should be 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, here's a corner, write tiny. 14, 15, 16. So if you got 16, very good job. If you got 14, be more careful on those corners. Okay, so now you're going to stop my video and you're going to go ahead and continue with the next slide and try them by yourself. Good job, guys, on your first day of perimeter.